Welcome to the Lending Forward podcast, brought to you by Atlantic Bay Mortgage Group. This is your home for real discussions about the mortgage and housing industry. Our hosts are here bringing you firsthand accounts every week from people at the heart of the business. And we're chatting with professionals from all corners of the industry as they help cultivate transparency around the future of the industry we love. Together, we are lending forward all we know to you. Thanks for joining us for today's episode. Let's dive in. Welcome back to another episode of the Lending Forward podcast. My name is Sara Rodgers. I am going to be your host today, and I'm very excited about the guest we have on for today's episode. Her name is Caroline Pinal. She is from the organization Giveback Homes. And if you have not heard of this organization, I'm very happy that you're listening today because everyone in our industry needs to know who they are and what they do. So Caroline, thank you for coming on and chatting with me today.
Yay, thanks for having me. Thanks for hosting, Sarah. This is exciting.
Absolutely. I'm very excited. So as you obviously know, we met at Housing Wire Annual last October, and I loved learning about what you do, the mission behind it. And I'm just super excited to share that with our audience. So if you kind of want to take over the reins and tell our listeners who you are, what Giveback Homes is, the inspiration behind it all, want to take it away?
Well, yes, big thank you to our friends at Housing Wire for throwing such an amazing event and allowing Sarah and I to meet and making this podcast possible. But yeah, my name is Caroline. I'm with Giveback Homes, an organization that was started 10 years ago now. We just celebrated our 10th birthday. And really what Giveback Homes is an opportunity for anyone in the real estate industry to make giving part of their business. So we offer a really easy, streamlined way for real estate professionals to donate and volunteer and include their clients in the whole experience. Kind of our background story is both my partner and I, we used to work at Tom's Shoes, which is, if you remember way back in the day, the shoe company that for every pair they sold, they gave a pair to a child in need. And so we worked there and we traveled to Central America together distributing shoes. So that's really where, we got the drive to want to be in the social impact space. A few years later, he was going through the process of purchasing a home for his family. And so obviously working closely with a real estate agent, and the real estate agent was like, I really want to give back in my business. I write checks all the time here and there to different organizations, but I don't really see the impact. And it's not something that, is strategic. It's not part of his bottom line. It's not part of his business planning. He just kind of, goes about it however. And so that's when we had the idea for Giveback Homes. We're like, what if we can apply a similar model to the real estate world? And so soon after, we took a trip down to Nicaragua and we built a complete home for a family. And we brought that agent with us. And, from that trip and the photos and the experiences and our storytelling from that, Giveback Homes just started to grow and expand from there. So, a lot has happened in 10 years. I mean, you can fast forward a couple years after that, we started supporting affordable housing throughout the United States. So not only were we building complete homes for families, living in extreme poverty and throughout Central America, we're also supporting affordable housing all across the United States as well too. And we have real estate agents, we have mortgage lenders, we have interior designers. Really anyone in the real estate space has found us in some way or another. So that's kind of the short and sweet of it, but it's been a very fulfilling, very rewarding 10 years. And I'm excited to introduce it to everyone who's listening here today.
Yeah, I can only imagine how rewarding, especially getting to go over there and, see the impact as that real estate agent, was able to do. So now she feels confident in knowing that what she's supporting is, doing something very life and world changing. So that's awesome. So you mentioned Nicaragua and then, some affordable housing around the States. So where all is your impact? What other countries have you gone to, or, what corners of the US are you guys currently in?
Yeah. So after Nicaragua, we started building in El Salvador. We've done builds in Mexico. We take groups of agents and groups of, our clients down there, and they get to experience those build trips as well too. I've taken hundreds of people down there, and that's really such a life-changing experience. And that's what, like I said, that's what inspired us to start it. And so it's always so special for me to be able to give that experience to other people as well too. In the United States, we started a lot in Los Angeles. We still do a lot in the LA area, but it's all over the United States, like Northern California, Oakland, Denver, Florida, Texas. Like we just did a build in Houston. Actually, that's where I was going right after the Housing Wire conference that I had a build in Houston. So it's really wherever our members are and wherever they want to, fundraise and volunteer in those communities, we'll make it happen.
That's incredible. That's awesome. So I was doing some digging on your site, but I want you to kind of share with our listeners. I noticed that you are giving back in other ways outside of, just building homes. There were different, areas where you can donate to specific projects going on. So can you expand a little bit on what you're doing with that?
Yeah, soon after we had the format of homes, right? It was like you can either donate to contribute towards a home, or donate a complete home, or donate towards a volunteer, event in your community. And then we were like, well, what would a home be like without running water? So we, established a partnership so that we can provide water filters to communities in need of clean drinking water. And then I believe it was in the wake of Hurricane Harvey, when that happened in Houston, everyone, a lot of our members and agents really wanted to rally and support, the community there. And so was the first time that we also, started helping in the wake of natural disasters. And as we all know and have probably experienced since then, there's been so many since then. So we always try, we partner with organizations like World Central Kitchen to help support them in their efforts as they go out and they are providing warm meals to communities in need, when disaster strikes. So those are just a few other ways that we support or fundraise towards other things besides housing. But really, housing is truly our focus.
That's awesome. It's really inspiring to see how you took that one thing, but now it's just evolving and growing into so much more, and just the amount of impact you're able to do from, this initial idea you had. That's inspiring to me, and I'm sure inspiring to all of our listeners as well. You mentioned there with people experiencing natural disasters and wanting to get involved, helping rebuild their communities, wanting to be part of something bigger than themselves. I know that myself, I experienced this, after the pandemic happened, our world changed. We took a different look at life, and it kind of made me, and I think a lot of people, reevaluate what's important to them in life, make them want to be aligned with causes they believe in and they, truly can back. And I think Giveback Homes is just such an incredible opportunity for people in the real estate industry to do that, to get involved with something bigger than themselves, while it's still relating back to what they do day to day, what they love doing. So you mentioned some builds, some sponsoring a home, traveling. I saw something on your website about like becoming a member. What all would that do? Like, what all do your members, what are the perks? What does it do? Can you go into that a little bit?
Yeah. So joining as a member of Giveback Homes is really easy. You just go to givebackhomes.com, you click sign up. It is a monthly membership. And so that just helps us, obviously, like with marketing materials. We provide digital toolkits to our members. We give them, fresh assets to use on social media. Anytime they need help with anything, like I said, like obviously we're fundraising towards housing, but sometimes our members are like, well, I'm doing this like fundraiser event for breast cancer next month. Can you help me set it up and And so I'm always happy to do that as well too. So we like to say join and, help support our projects, but then also like if you need help with other causes that are near and dear to your heart or close to your community, then we are happy to support you in that way too. So those are some of the different benefits that you get from joining Giveback Homes. In addition to just knowing where your donated dollars are going, you mentioned earlier about just having trust with organizations. And it's like, that's something that we've always prioritized from the beginning, and why we've tried so hard to keep our model simple as possible. Like, okay, you want to donate to this home, you'll be able to come out and volunteer once we've hit that goal in about 3 months, or you want to build a complete home. Here are the before photos, here's the during construction, and here's the after photos. I like to be there as often as possible for when those homes are completed to, have that personal story to be able to show them and share with them so that they can go back and share it with their network and their clients. So that's something that's been really, really important to us from the beginning and continues to be.
That's awesome. That's just a testament to, how good of an organization and a community you're building, being willing to kind of make it a two-way street. Because, I mean, you can just tell from talking to you, you're a philanthropist, you love helping people. So like you stepping out of what your norm is very telling, and that's awesome. So with being involved in giving back to our communities and such, I know that a lot of people, and I completely understand why, and I respect it, they like to do their good in silence. They don't like to tell people that they are, doing this or that, because, it's not about, us doing it. It's about it being done, right? So what kind of advice maybe do you have, or what have you seen that's helped mortgage bankers or real estate agents who have incorporated Giveback Homes into their business plan and, made it known? What advice do you have for people who are maybe hesitant to let people know that they're doing this? Like, why should they, want to let people know the good they're doing?
I mean, I feel like the question alone is kind of, it's like, why should I tell people the good that I'm doing? It's like, why not? Like, it sounds like I understand. It is definitely a sentiment that I've heard people say, and I'm like, I don't understand it. I've always been an advocate for, you share everything else about your business. You know what I mean? You share when something happens, when something closes, when you got a promotion, or you got some ranking, or you got some, award. Why wouldn't you share this as well too? And I think maybe asking yourself internally first, like, what is it that you're afraid of? Are you afraid people are going to think you're doing it for the wrong reasons? It's like, what is the wrong reason of giving? Like, as long as you come from a place of like, right, oh, I want to inspire someone else to also give, or maybe, do something small for their community, or whatever it might be. And, sometimes I think people get a little like, oh, it's not a big, I'm not donating enough, so I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. It's like, every little bit helps, so, if I could share an example, we have a mortgage lender in Orange County. His name is JJ Mazzo. And he joined Giveback Homes back in 2016. And, from the beginning, he said, my goal is to build one complete home for a family in Central America every year. And then he was like, that's like my first initial goal. But then he ended up realizing that like the more he gave and the more he shared it, and the more we shared the stories, the more his clients loved it, the more his whole community and network loved it. And so he was able to actually donate more homes. I think now he's on 22 homes for families in need. So wow. It's just, I say start small, like don't, just kind of be realistic. And then who knows where your goals will lead, or where it will change or shift. You just kind of have to start.
That is incredible that, he took the one small goal and he's building on it. And I can see why, because when I mentioned like a little bit ago, like what the pandemic did for me and wanting to align myself with stuff that I believe in, if I had 2 mortgage lenders or 2 real estate agents that were, evenly matched in every way, if I knew that one of them out of the 2 was involved with something like what you're doing, I would hands down work with that one any day of the week. Because like I said, I think as like a community, as a society, we want to do more for people. I mean, maybe it's the time we live in, we see a lot more of what's going on in places where we don't live, in underserved communities. And we just, it's in the back of our head all the time. So we just want to do more. So I completely agree with that. I understand some people who just like to do their good in the background. If that's what you do and you're comfortable with, that's amazing. It's just good that, they're doing good. But I can definitely see how letting people know that they're involved, like their clients know, can, give them more business, but then also give Giveback Homes more business because of that. So we always end our episodes with the same question. And if there's anything else you want to elaborate on, please do, because I want people to know everything they can about this. I want people to get involved. I hope they're as inspired as I'm feeling from chatting with you. But we always end our episodes asking, how will you lend it forward? Which I think you literally do that in everything that you do. But I don't know, is there anything like new and exciting on the horizon? We're in 2024 now. Anything going on? Anything you want to share?
I mean, there's always new and exciting things with Giveback Homes, new partnerships with different, companies in the real estate world, and just, lots of projects like being started and things like that. So, but in terms of how we're lending it forward, I mean, I think Giveback Homes in itself is always lending it forward in one way or another to the families that we're impacting, and also to the real estate professionals that we just are meeting and helping them build their business, and helping them build giving, make giving part of their business. So I think that goes, every day we're kind of doing that. Personally, lending it forward this year, I think, I would like to speak to more individuals, like what I just recently went through a home buying process. And I just want to share my experience and, educate them a little bit more, because it's just like you hear all the tips and everything, but until you actually go through it, you don't really, you don't know how to apply that. So I think my way of lending it forward would be to share, my experience with as many people as possible, and try and help as many people as possible from that new experience, because I haven't had that yet. So that's a new thing for me. So I will be lending it forward in that way.
I love it. That's awesome. I know your website is givebackhomes.com. Is there anywhere else people should be looking for you guys, or just reach out to you there? What's the best way?
You can find us on Instagram at Giveback Homes, or if you want to just go sign up, it's givebackhomes.com. And then once you signed up, you should receive an email from me, and then we'll be in touch on how to get started and how to do all the things. If you just have any questions, you can email me, Caroline@givebackhomes.com.
That is amazing. I hope that you guys, gain some new members out of our listeners and just get some more traction for what you're doing. I want to thank you again for coming on today and, kind of spreading the news, giving us like a good feel-good episode. We need that every once in a while, remind us the good that's in the world. So thank you again for coming on, and everyone tune in. We'll have new episodes every Thursday.
Thanks again for tuning into today's episode of the Lending Forward podcast. Be sure to subscribe to our channel, follow us on Instagram @LendingForward, on YouTube, and LinkedIn. Tune in next week for another new episode, and go lend something forward today. Atlantic Bay Mortgage Group, LLC, NMLS number 72043, NMLSconsumeraccess.org is an equal opportunity lender and employer, located at 600 Lynn Haven Parkway, Suite 100, Virginia Beach, Virginia 23452.